And we're back.
So this is the lockdown podcast number 4.
Yeah.
So we've got IFBB Pro Jamie Do Rego. Well, you probably don't need much more of an introduction to that, I don't think. But just, I think before we start, just for those people that maybe don't know, how long have you actually been competing for?
So I've been, we'll say hello to everyone first. So I've been competing since 17 years old. So I feel very old, even though I actually I just turned 27, but I've been bodybuilding for 10 years. So I feel old when someone asks me that, you know what I mean?
So does it seem weird that you're coming up to 30?
Don't even talk to me about it, lads. I'm hanging on to this youth, but now I turn 27, I feel like, damn, I'm getting old. So still young in bodybuilding in some senses. So
Who are obviously getting on to the Olympia stage, they're well in their 30s these days. So, I mean, looking at that, you've got a fair while before you actually hit your peak.
Oh yeah, a long time. It's like even Kamal won the Olympia at 48 years old. So that's another 21 years. So when you put that into perspective of, say, how I progressed in the last 10 years, another 21 years is a very long way away. So if you stay healthy and stay, injury free, you can do a lot in 21 years.
Yeah, but also, as you say, is keeping the drive and the passion that you've got to keep that thirst for improvement as well, I think, is a key factor.
Yeah, totally. I agree. It's like I said, just keeping the motivation and having that end goal. I think as bodybuilders, we're never ever satisfied with how we look. And if you've got that mentality, then you'll just the only way you'll ever get better is just you'll keep progressing, because you're never ever happy. Like I can be 1 week out and still look at myself in the mirror, and all I see is like flaws and where I need to improve. And even when I put it, say, against the picture from, say, 2019, and I see the progress I've made, I still am being critical of myself when I see, say, even those pictures back together, because I think you always like, okay, this can be bigger, that can be bigger. So, if you've got that mindset going into bodybuilding, you're never ever satisfied, and you'll always find a way to kind of improve and get better.
But I think that attitude is what makes champions, because when you get to the point that you think you're quite satisfied, then it's just all gone then.
Yeah.
So it's just to keep that mindset of improvement and to not be afraid to critique yourself, I think is a big part of true competitive bodybuilding. All I'm going to say now, right, we've been to Dubai with you a couple of times, but I was saying to Mike earlier that my favorite time that we were there, and I mean, we had some good fun and everything else, but my favorite part of the whole journey was the car journeys back and forth to the gym. And some of the fantastic conversations we had. And really what I want to do then is go back now. I mean, obviously, we've known you for a long time, and so we know quite a lot about your history, but there's a lot of people out there that have got no idea why on how you got into bodybuilding. So if you don't mind, just throw some of those stories we had whilst we were in the car.
Yeah, so basically I started training at 15 years old. Basically, they told me I used to play rugby for a high level. I used to play like county level and international, and they told me I was too small. So the first thing I did was they made me get into the gym, and that's where it all started. So when I was 15 years old, for my birthday, I actually asked my mum to get me a personal trainer, and he used to come back to the house and just destroy me every session. And he was one of those, like, he would push me to my limits because he knew I wouldn't give up. So even back then at 15, I'd still like be going to failure every set. And then when he thought I was done, I was like, oh, can we do more? And that's how I was ever since then. And then obviously, I got a bit bigger. I then switched positions in rugby. And it was basically when I stopped college that I went. It was a lady that came up to me at the gym, and she was like, "Have you ever thought about doing a bodybuilding show?" And I was just like, "No, not really. I don't really know what it is." So she kind of just helped me prep for that year, and I had no idea what I was doing. I ate chicken and sweet potato, I think, every meal. I think I had meal one was like oats and whey, and then every other meal was chicken and sweet potato. That's all I ever ate. So that was when I started prep for the first show. And I have a funny story, actually, because I won the Welsh that year. No, sorry, I placed second at the Welsh that year. And for some reason, I did the Welsh show. And I have no idea why I did the Welsh show, but it was just the nearest show. And then I remember I went actually on a lad's holiday 2 weeks later to Ibiza. So I qualified for the British finals. I went to 2 weeks on holiday to Ibiza. And I remember saying to myself, okay, I'm going to stay in shape. I've got the British finals in like 8 weeks. So throughout the whole day in Ibiza, I'd be with, like, I went on a lad's holiday. So I'd be on my diet, I'd go train, then it'd get to night time, I'd get drunk, and I'd be like, oh, what am I doing? I'd get drunk, and then I'd be in KFC, eating everything in KFC. I'd wake up in the next morning, I'd be like, oh my God, I've got like 5 weeks and 6 days to the British now. So I need to get back on the cardio equipment and get back on and get this like body fat off or whatever. I do that every night for 7 days. I remember when I got back, she said to me, what the hell have you done since you've been on this holiday? And then I just remember getting absolutely hammered on cardio, zero carbs for that British final. That was probably one of the worst experiences of my bodybuilding, but I'm glad it happened earlier on because I learned very young,
I'm more surprised. I can't imagine you on a lad's holiday.
Oh.
Like,
well, I never went on another one, so.
So obviously now, you were really close to competing, very close. You were going to do New Zealand again in March.
Yeah.
So where are you at now? Like, how's your training diet been since this all sort of happened and everything got cancelled, postponed, etc.?
Yeah, so we pretty much found out we were meant to fly on the Saturday, and I think we found out on the Wednesday. So, we found out about 10 days out, or 10, 11 days out, we found out that the show was postponed. And it was kind of inevitable. Like, I kind of had a feeling it would happen, but obviously, we put in so much time and effort to this that I said to myself, you can only just carry on and just give it 110% until it's actually called off. So when it was announced it was called off, I just thought, right, okay, I want to see how I would have looked, week out. So I got called off on the Monday, and I thought I'll just diet, keep on dieting, and keep everything sort of stick to the plan until the Saturday, and just see how I look. So I booked a photo shoot, tried a few things for the photo shoot just to get an idea of how to look for that. And then I got some good images back. And then the last 2 weeks, I just kind of said to myself, you know what, like, just stay on point, just act as if there's a show coming up, very soon, and just stay in a position where you know that if you need 6 to 8 weeks, you can bring it down nice and easily. So my training's actually been real good. Like, we've had to adapt a lot. We actually bought a gym for the apartment, believe it or not. So we got a full gym, well, a rack and cables and bench and dumbbells in the living room. And we just bought a leg press and a hack squat. So that's going to come, I think, Tuesday or Thursday, which we're going to put in the maid's room.
A full-on leg press.
Yeah, and I've actually been looking for a leg extension and a leg extension as well to add to it. But we'll deal with the hack squat and the leg press first, and then we'll kind of figure out the rest, because I've got a feeling we're going to be here for a long time. So as soon as I heard everything was happening and they shut the gyms in Dubai, luckily they didn't close the gyms in Abu Dhabi straight away. But I said to my friends Darren and Bex, I said, look, we need to get something quick, because if these gyms are shut, we've got to find a way of training. So we just thought, okay, let's just buy it. So we bought it, put it in the apartment. Me and Darren train together like normal. Then Bex trains, and then me and Darren do a second session. So I've been able to keep the routine exactly as it was when I was prepping, and exactly as it was in oxygen. But I've almost had to adapt a little bit to what I'm able to use, because I think, as you know, like, we're spoiled in oxygen. with every single bit of kit you could ever imagine. And this has taken it back to like basics. But in a sense, it's been nice because I said to someone on social media the other day, I said, this is where we all started, right? We all started in garages. We all started in like our bedrooms, lifting dumbbells and barbells. That's where we all came from. So, and we built our foundation from that and a good amount of muscle in the, say, first 6 to 12 months of training from your garage. So I don't see why we can't still build muscle and progress, with what we've got now.
Yeah, no, I mean, sometimes I think having the ability to actually start thinking about your training again is always great because, as you say, it's wonderful having all the kit, but it's just you start to you don't even think, you just go in and do. So to have the ability to start thinking, use your imagination and make things work. But is this a way of telling us that our bedroom's full? Is this what you're trying to tell me?
No, your bedroom's actually okay.
That's all right, Ben. That's all right.
So don't worry. You still have a bedroom every time you come.
Because I think I've seen it a lot on your stories. Obviously, the workouts that you've been doing, but also a lot of your clients, and they're always putting up hashtag whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And some of them have been really inventive with the limited equipment they've got. But surprising the number of people I can see who are still following their plans and are getting in really good shape.
Yeah, I think especially during this time period, it's like we've got so much time on our hands that why not use why not use this situation to your advantage, and why not channel your energy into something positive and get something positive out of it? Because at the end of the day, in my opinion, it's not going to clear up anytime soon. So you can go cheat on your diet, eat loads of shit food and whatever, and you're only going to feel 10 times worse about yourself. And in 2-3 weeks' time, when you realise it's not over, you're just going to be bored, depressed, and out of shape. So I think, why not use this as a challenge and see the situation as a challenge and just change your mindset and your outlook on this, because we're all lucky to be in the position we are. You know what I mean? I can say I'm lucky to be a bodybuilder and focus on this full time. So it's just more I think a lot of people need to change the way they think about the situation and kind of turn something negative into a positive, because that's what's going to keep them sane and that's what's going to keep them focused. And I think bodybuilding, as you know, it's always there for a focus. It's like if you have a hard time in your life, you can turn to bodybuilding, you can go to the gym, you can train and forget about all the bullshit that goes on in the world. Do you know what I mean? And I think, people can really focus on getting in shape now. They'll benefit so much more when the gyms do come back open.
Yeah, totally right. Totally right.
Yeah, I think, and I'm sure Lisa and Laz will agree with me on this, that, we've seen so many different people train, over the years. We've trained so many different people, but I think, what sets yourself apart is that mindset, I think, and there's not many people who can put the work in as consistently as you can. Yeah, there's plenty of people out there who can train hard, but not to that consistent basis that we've actually witnessed you do it.
Yeah.
And I know you're still following your double split training. But would you say that would be something that everybody needs to follow?
I personally love double splits, but it takes a while for your body to adapt. I think we spoke a lot when I first started them, and I'd get to Friday, I'd be like, damn, if my food was a little bit low, I'd be like, I'm fucked. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, if at the end of the day, people got time to do it, and the body will adapt to it, but it's gonna take, I'd say 2 to 4 weeks for your body to sort of adapt to that volume and adapt to that workload. But if people can push through that 2 to 4 week barrier, it's so beneficial in my opinion. Like this year, I trained double splits every day I had the one rest day a week. I trained double splits every day for the entire prep, and my fullness. I noticed a big difference in how full I was because there's blood always in the muscle. Um, and yeah, it gets tough. But I then sort of made Saturday my rest day. I'd do something enjoyable and I'd try to relax as much as possible. And then I'd push hard throughout the week and use that Saturday again to relax and give my body a rest. Because as you know, I think last year I didn't used to have a rest day. I just carried on pushing through. But with the doubles, you definitely need rest day. I think if someone's starting out and wanting to do the doubles, I think maybe 3 days on, 1 day off would be a perfect sort of place to start, or 2 days on, 1 day off, and then just progress it into 6 days on. I do 6 days on, 1 day off. So that would be my advice if someone wants to go into the double splits, especially now that let's be honest, everyone's got the whole day on their hands. So I think if you can utilize your time well, you can really benefit from a double split training.
Yeah, definitely. But do you think then, obviously, we are in a different situation now, but what I'm saying is as well, you've geared everything up in your life towards your bodybuilding and your competitive career now. Whereas, if we were all back to normal, I think, obviously, I think somebody maybe that has a more manual job probably maybe wouldn't get away with it. What would you say on that?
Yeah, I think I'm lucky that I'm lucky in the sense that I'm able to do this full time now and put everything into bodybuilding. But it wasn't always that way. I worked to get to this position in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's not sort of luck. I mean, always known what you wanted to do and how you're going to do it. So you've geared up your business, etc., to help you with that.
Yeah, and this is just like and my focus is competitive bodybuilding. Like I could focus more on business and make more out of that, but I've always said to people I'm more goal driven and rather than necessarily money driven. I'd rather set goals and achieve them and dreams and achieve them and focus all my energy and attention to that. And, rather than say put everything into making X amount of money. Do you know what I mean? But I think it'd be tough for someone who was working, say, as a labourer to do double splits. Definitely, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to time. So it's like realistically, when would you be able to train first thing in the morning straight after work? It's going to be if you've got a manual job, you're going to struggle to deal with that. Not saying it's impossible, but you would then be your body's going to be tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on the other hand, really now, I think the way that we're evolving as humans, there are very, very few real physically manual jobs. There's so many things put in place now for health and safety and things like that. There's machines doing for everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree. But on the other hand, then when you start getting into it and you start think about even maybe competing, maybe use the second session instead of doing cardio to initially to get yourself into that sort of mindset. But as you know, I mean, we've been doing done a split for years, but it works well for us. It works well for lots of people, but also it really works well for your mental attitude as well, because it gives you, as you say, that hour, 2 hours, whatever out of your day that is just about you. So it's quite a good focus as well.
Yeah, and as well, like if you actually look at like most of the bodybuilders back in the day, they all did doubles. Dennis James, Jay Cutler, all those guys back in the 90s were doing doubles all the time. I think that the UK especially has just kind of got into this mindset there's only one way to train. Like when I was in Oxygen and putting up drop sets and in Oxygen they just drop set everything. Like they don't care about the weight. The training's brutal. It's not. I wouldn't say it's necessarily smart, but it is just all out. Like that's the way I can say it because like they don't have like Figo used to train who trains me there. There's no emotion. Like you'll fail, and then he'll go grab 2-3 more plates. And I'm scratching my head sometimes thinking, is he really going to add more weight to this set? Because I just failed on 8 reps, and then 2-3 more plates aside go on. And then before you know it, it's drop setting. But the way they drop set it there is they have 3 people around you. So it's not a normal drop where, your training partner would drop off one side, then run around to the other machine, drop on the other side. This is straight away drop, then go. Straight away drop, then go. And they have no emotion there. If they see you sort of dying, they're 5 more. And then drops it after that. So, in oxygen, the training was just ridiculous. That's the only way to put it. They definitely tested me. Because Jace actually trained with me a few days, and I think Jace was done by 1 week.
To be fair, that takes us back to body power. I mean, will we ever forget that? I mean, for you to be standing there literally unconscious on the spot.
I remember that well, Lisa. That's why I never did legs again at Body Power.
Yeah, you tend to avoided that one a bit last year.
Last year when you made Darren and Bex do legs, I was thinking these guys are stupid. I was not a chance am I standing in a queue, on a stand after I just trained legs with Michael Lisa. I was like, arms or shoulders will do.
So, obviously I know we spoke the other day and you said there's possibility of shows, but again, we just don't know what's coming up. So basically you're just keeping to that mindset of there possibly could be something in a couple of months, keep in shape and then see what happens.
Yeah. Right now, I said to myself, okay, let's see what happens in the next 4 to 6 weeks, because even though they've put a few shows backdated, in my opinion, I can't see any shows being on in America in July or August. I just don't know how that it could physically happen, because it's not getting any better there, and I don't see how they can run a bodybuilding show in July and August and it be okay to run. But they said that they would release a date for the Korea show. I know things are getting better in Korea. So for now, it's just almost just hold where I'm at and see what happens in the next 4 to 6 weeks, and then I guess just go from there. Because realistically, now we can't pre-plan anything too much. We just got to take it week by week. And
no, because so in Dubai at the moment? So all the gyms obviously are shut. Oxygen's shut as well in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
So what is actually open, if anything?
Pretty much nothing anymore. They actually just released yesterday. They released a thing on the news saying that's a 24-hour curfew. So you actually, before the last week, we had a curfew from 8 p.m. till 6 a.m. So you could go out in the day to buy groceries and go to the pharmacies and stuff. But yesterday they put us on a 24-hour curfew. So we actually need a permit to leave the house. Otherwise, you can get fined. So if you go past the speed radars, they just flash you. Anyone who's on the road now, flash. You'll get an automatic fine, which is, I think, 2,000 dirhams, which is £400. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
So
yeah, and I know over there they actually uphold the laws big time.
Yeah, they don't take any shit over here. So I think they even said that you have to. So if I want to go to the grocery store, I actually have to get a permit now to be able to go and food shop.
So what are you doing? You're just ordering in then, basically, are you?
Yeah, we're lucky that obviously the majority of things we can get on the app that which is one of the most amazing apps here, where you just go on your phone. It brings up about 6 to 8 supermarkets close by. You press what you want, and within an hour, it's delivered to your front door. So we can get pretty much anything from there. And then obviously, if I need to go to, say, the local supermarket, there's a few in my area, which I don't think we'd get fined if. We'd have to be very unlucky to go to, the local supermarket that's 200 meters down the road and get fined. But it might be worth just getting a permit for that. I don't know how. I've not even looked at the permit system, but I'm pretty sure you just apply. Say you want to go food shopping, and they just advise you to buy sort of 3 days of food and then come back. So we've pretty much just been in the apartment. So I literally just get up in the morning, do my cardio, because I actually bought a cross trainer for my front room as well, because they closed the apartment gym. And then it's pretty much train my first session, have 2 meals, train my second session, and then it's pretty much Netflix at night because there's nothing else to do.
So is food readily available there? Because I know you said you obviously have it delivered. Because over here at the moment, the food is just it's beyond. People are fighting over pieces of chicken.
Uh,
So what's it like there?
Here's completely fine, to be honest. They have everything in stock because again, the law here said that they'll fine people for buying too much food. So there's been no issues with food at all. I've not been to the supermarket once and seen anything run out. Um,
Oh, that's good.
so I think in Dubai there's a lot of respect for the government and the police here, and I think that helps a lot. And people abide by the rules. People listen, and I think that's why here, in my opinion, will probably be ahead of the UK and the US because people are actually listening because they have to. Because I mean, unless you want to have fines slapped on your wrist every time you go out, majority of people are going to listen. And the police here don't sort of mess around. Hopefully, things will go a bit quicker than the rest of the world here, but.
Yeah.
So earlier on, you touched on the fact about goals and things. You'd rather achieve goals for yourself. And so I appreciate now, with career and what have you, are still a bit up in the air. But what would you say your goals are, as in short term, then going on to long term, and what time span do you give yourself?
Obviously, like my sort of next big goal is to get to Olympia, but you know, people have said to me this year, like, "Oh, you'll be on the Olympia in 2020," and in my head, I'm like, "Well, you can't say that because I've not even broke top 3 in a pro show yet." So realistically, my goal is to break top 3 in a pro show before I even think about an Olympia qualification. I'm a big believer in taking like small steps. So I know if I break top 3 in a pro show, then the next goal is to win a pro show, and that's my Olympia qualification. But until I've broken the top 3 place in a pro show, there's no point in me even thinking about the Olympia. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, long term goal, yeah, I want to be on the Olympia stage and be up there with the best of the best. But for now, I think I just always think the next goal. So obviously, when I was amateur, the goal was to turn pro because I was so close so many times. I was just missed out a couple of times. So that was the next goal. I wouldn't think about a pro show until I turned pro. I don't even think too far ahead. So right now, it's to place top 3 in a pro show. I placed 4th last year, so it's to beat that placing in a pro show, and then obviously from that, whatever happens, I could have a good day and win, or I could place 3rd, and then if I place 3rd, then the next goal to be place 1st. Do you know what I mean?
I'm so pleased you've said that. I knew what the answers were going to be because we've talked about this before. But for people who are listening, who truly believe there's one stage, and that's amateur and Olympia. So there is nothing in between. But of course, the thing is, for them to hear you with such a level attitude of knowing this is a stepping stone. You have got to keep taking those steps to go forward, but you're not thinking about jumping forward, you're still stepping forward, which is really refreshing, but also for people to hear that.
Yeah, I think a lot of amateurs these days are like, oh, like they do one show, like they've never even won a show and they want to turn pro. Like
Yeah.
I said on a post 4, like I've won like multiple shows, I've won overalls, I've like lost shows. I've played second, a few times. Like I've won big shows, I've won small shows, but it's like I never once said to myself, "Okay, I'm going for my pro card straight away." I knew that in time it would come, but it was all about, okay, now I'm close, so now I've got to try to win my class to then win the overall to then go pro. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was always steps. It wasn't. I never at a young age was like, okay, I'm going to like 22, 23, right, I'm going for my pro card because I was a million miles away. Like when I think people can say I'm going for a pro card when they just miss out on a pro card.
Yeah, 100%. I remember you saying to me quite a while ago that you were looking forward to what you can achieve in the next few years. As you say, I think there's too many that think, all right, this time next year, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be 20 pounds heavier, or, some ridiculous target. Whereas, and yes, you're relatively young, but you say you've been competing already for 10 years, and you don't see that. There's not many overnight sensations.
No.
No, not anymore. Especially, I think it's very competitive in the amateur scene, and in the pros, it's a total different. It's a total different look completely. It's just a different look and it's a different quality. Like I think when you get on the pro stage, everyone's got nice physiques, and especially in the 2-1-2 classes, everyone's short, everyone's the same weight, everyone's similar height. So you can't just come in. And I was so adamant this year that I had to stay big. I wasn't chasing like glutes to be striated or like inside out, because I know if I come in absolutely diced, my glutes in, the bigger guy going to stand next to me and make me look tiny. It was adamant. I was adamant that I got to stay full. I got to stay full. Whereas like in the amateurs, I'd just be like, come in diced, because at the end of the day, in the amateurs scene, 90% of people aren't shredded to the bone. So if you come in shredded to the bone, you're going to be in first call out or top three regardless. But in the pro league, it's different. If you come in shredded to the bone, with no real pop or muscle, then you're going to get eaten by someone who's bigger and is still hard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I think myself and Lisa always say that amateur and professional bodybuilding are almost two different sports. And you're 100% right. I think, amateur, come in, condition definitely wins shows, but in the pros, it's a different ball game.
Yeah, it's totally different. I always like to say, you got to look like you see some of the top guys like Phil, and it's not until they tense and pose that all the lines and striations come out. If he stood there relaxed, you're like, oh, is he like peeled? Because they're not like dry, vascular everywhere. They're big and full, and I think that's the look that they like at the moment. They like the big, full look, and that's what I kind of tried to bring this year. I tried to stay as big as possible and just let the condition come in with time. If I'm close to the limit, I know that I'm going to be able to stand next to guys who are the same weight as me, because I'm the same weight as them. So
yeah, but as full as you were, I mean, the thing is, we talk quite a lot about this. You still kept your waist under control, so you brought a nice, symmetrical, balanced physique with enough condition, but as you say, with that fullness to make sure you were seen, which was the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's I actually was listening to Dexter's chat. I don't know if you got a chance to watch Dexter's rant on Instagram, and people always saying about the 90s and how that was the best era and blah, blah, blah. And Dexter was literally saying, he was like, yeah, like that era was a different look. People come in dry, but he said now everyone talks about the bubble guts and that, but he said at the end of the day, we're 30 pound, 40 pound heavier. So you put a 30, 40 pound heavier guy with great shape against a 90s guy, they're gonna probably blow them away in just pure size.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there is this talk about sort of the 90s and the current era, and I totally agree with you. It's down to it. It's just a different judging criteria now. If you look at somebody like Dexter, who is about the same height as somebody like Sean Ray, I mean, Dexter's 30 pounds heavier than him.
That's Dexter actually having a rant about Sean Ray, saying that because Sean was saying that in the 90s he wouldn't beat him, he wouldn't place top 6 in the Olympia, and Dexter was saying like, I've been lighter with no bubble gut, and now everyone says, oh, bodybuilders these days got a bubble gut. But he said we're 30 to 40 pound heavier in pure muscle. It's like, yeah, your waist is gonna come up a little bit. It's gonna, but
this is about physiques evolving. So, of course, the thing is, as you say, it's not necessarily the criteria has changed, the judging criteria. It's the physique is just improving and evolving. And as you say, the thing is, if you're expected to have biceps 3-4 inches bigger than they were last year, well, everything's going to grow as well. But you got the balance, and you kept your waist under control, which was so nice to see that everything else was getting bigger, and the balance of the physique was on point.
Yeah, I think that's I think the key to that is just not trying to push too much too soon, because that's when
Yeah,
guys lose the waist. Is I'm adamant not to use certain things because of that, of my waist. Uh,
yeah,
and I'm under no illusion that my waist has come up a little bit this year, which it does every year that I put on a little bit more muscle. But as long as it looks controlled and it's still in some senses in proportion to my physique, then I expect it to come up a little bit every year, with the more tissue that I put on. Because I remember even like every time I pose, like this year, I'd be throwing slightly different poses because last year I looked slightly different. So, for example, a most muscular, I threw a new most muscular. Actually, you guys said to me, "Oh, I don't like that most muscular on you." So I would trying different most musculars that
yeah.
suit my physique for this present time.
And really, that's where, when we're judging, when I'm judging, as I said, and this is what I say to everybody, as a competitor, it's your job to hide your weaknesses and bring your strengths forward. And as a judge, it's my job to find your weaknesses. So you're doing exactly the right thing. As your physique is evolving, your posing should evolve with it, because then you are actually putting your stronger points forward for the judge to see.
Yeah, I agree. It's like this year I actually changed my side chest to the opposite side, because
Yeah.
I've always thrown my side chest on, my right side, and I actually changed it to my left side because just the way it looked like looked a little bit more freaky. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try it this way, and that's again, like you said, as you evolve in bodybuilding, your physique evolves, like your posing evolves, and you have to look at yourself and figure out what looks best on your physique.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, well, go on.
All right,
No, go on, join in, Michael.
But I'm just, I don't want to keep going over this. There seems to be a 90s versus nowadays. And people, you get a lot of people saying, or people just worked harder in the 90s. I mean, I think that's a shit. I mean, like I said, we've seen you, and there's other people as well who can work just as hard, if not harder, than a lot of those people. So, as far as the difference in physiques, it's just a different, as Lisa said, it's just a different time.
Yeah.
But if the criteria was you had to come in shredded, well, you suck it up and come in shredded. But that's not the look that you're all after these days.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And you know what? Like, it's like I think these days the only thing I see different is everyone's kind of trying to find the easier way out
Yeah.
in a certain sense. Like, because let's be honest, like the guys who do bring condition and bring who do bring condition prep pretty old school. It's only the guys who come out of shape prep using like refined food sources, and look for the easy way. They don't want to do cardio. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. They want to do one set of 5 reps and stuff like that. It's like that's what, in my opinion, why people are more out of shape on the stage these days, is because they're looking for the easy way out. Like no one wants to do 60-minute cardio in the morning and 40-minute cardio
Mm.
at night. I remember when I won the Welsh overall and the northeast and that. I remember like my coach had me on like an hour cardio in the morning, like 30 to 40-minute cardio PM, and then I trained with you guys every day. I remember those sessions very well because I remember going into the toilet. It's funny because I did the same thing this year as well. I remember going into the toilet for my session thinking, how the fuck am I going to get through this today? That's the difference, is that's the way I've always trained. That's the only way I've known to train, is to failure. I've never done a set where I'm easing off, or a back off set, or a warm up set. It's like, yeah, I'll do 1 or 2 warm ups and everything else from then on, it's failure, failure, failure.
The thing is, we had this conversation before, and it ended up, especially between me and you, it was a battle of wills.
Yeah.
Who was going to get out first, me or you? And as you say, that wasn't going to happen on any part, but you were just your determination. But I think then going back to, as Mike said, about the work ethic of the 90s compared to now. And I mean, we trained through the 80s, the 90s, the noughties, the 10s, and the 20s. And if it's in you, it's in you. It doesn't matter what era it was in.
Yeah.
And for people to say that they worked harder then to now, well, if they were here now, they would train and have to train as hard as people like you do on a daily, twice a day basis. And would they do that? Yeah, they probably will, but some of them would probably go by the wayside. So I don't really think it's fair to put that comparison out, because it's never going to happen.
No.
I don't agree with it either. I think, like, at the end of the day, like you said, like, there'll be guys back in the 90s who train just as hard as guys in the 2000s. There'll be lazy guys back in the 90s who didn't train hard. Like, there's lazy guys who don't train hard now. You know what I mean? It's impossible to even, like, compare that.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite simply, there's lazy bodybuilders, and there always has been, and there's guys that train hard, and girls, and there always has been. You know, it's quite as simple as that.
We only remember the hardworking guys from the 90s because they were the only ones worth remembering. So it's like, obviously you see like Dorian, Flex Wheeler, etc. It's like, oh, they all worked hard. It's like, yeah, but that's like 8 guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big picture. Yeah, in the bigger picture, they're the guys that you remember because they're the videos that you watched. You don't remember the guy who didn't work hard and placed 4th or 5th. You remember the guy who won the show and's got a video of him training like an animal.
Yeah, but on the other hand, then when you think of the videos and how hard they trained and what animals they were, how many of them are still actually physically able to do a training session now?
Yeah.
So they may have been hard, but as you say, they weren't particularly clever.
No, it's like even like the way that I trained for this show. Like, I'm not gonna say it was a smart way of training, but it's a way of training to be elite. And I don't think I think you have to be smart in some aspects.
Yeah.
But today, like, let's be honest, like it's not a healthy sport in a sense where, you know, you're going to get to 60, 70-year-old and you're going to be like completely fine. Like, look at Ronnie. But does Ronnie regret everything? I don't think Ronnie regrets a thing that he did. But Ronnie was Ronnie for a reason. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that was very similar to a conversation. I think it was, might even have been British Athletics, when they said if there was a pill that would guarantee that you would win the Olympics, but you die a week later, would you take it? And they all went, "Yep."
Yeah, it's crazy because it's just the sport that we're in, isn't it? We're willing to do whatever it takes to get to where we want to get to. So, you know, I think as you get older, you've probably got to train a bit smarter. Like, I know Dexter's around still going because, you know, he's had to adapt to the way he's trained. I mean, he actually used that newbie fit, you know, the electrical impulse on his legs.
Yes.
Yeah, he used that for his leg training for the last few Olympiads because he couldn't squat because of his knees. You know what I mean? So I think we have to adapt as we get older, but it's almost like it's that fine line between being stupid and training like heavy. Because, like, when I was in Oxygen this time, Figo would be. See, I'm my own worst enemy. I remember Figo being like, no heavy today. I'd be like, no, just put on another plate. Fuck it, let's squat 7 plates. You know, I did like a 7-plate squat like 2-3 week out because, like, I'm just adamant to beat myself. Feeling like, no, today we go light, and I'm like, no, let's just do it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm my own worst enemy sometimes, but we still train very smart in the fact that, you know, the reps never really go below 8 to 10. You know, we never went so heavy that it was like a 3 to 4 rep. It's always, you know, 20, 15, 12, 10 drop set. That's basically the method that they use. So, it's a heavy weight, but I don't think it's ever that heavy that you're going to say necessarily tear anything because you're never going down to the 3s, the 4s.
Yeah, exactly. I think it becomes just about the weight then. But I remember you saying to me a while ago, do you think I should back off? And I said, yeah, probably. And you said, yeah, that's what Figo has said, and then you just went totally against it.
Yeah. But actually, I listened to Figo. I listened to him the last 2 weeks because he was like, okay, I don't think you should do like chest and delts. He said like you should do chest in the morning, try something out. Okay, so and I remember that the last week that I pushed and I did chest and delts, I was fucked. I was so tired. I was like, man, I was like, okay, this is when I've got, and my physique, I actually looked worse that day because I remember checking in. I was like, looked at myself in the mirror and I was like checking myself and I was like, something's not right today. This was like 3 weeks out. It's like, something's not right today. It's like, I just don't look how I want to look like. My body looks tired. It looks stressed. So as soon as I seen that in the mirror, I was like, okay, today I'm just going to do one session. I'm just going to train arms up because it's meant to be a leg day. So I'm just going to do some light arms, rest, tomorrow rest. And then after that, the next day I looked great again. So at that moment I was like, okay, now it's time to sort of back off a little bit because I'm nearly 2 weeks out. So I was like, okay, this is when, I've got to start listening. So I think it's a fine line between pushing so much, but if you can see the signs of your body being a little bit tired soon, then you just pull it back straight away. And I had the one. I think that day I trained arms, and then went and got a massage. And the next day I had a rest day, and the day after that I looked back to what I was like, whoa, that rest did me some good. So I think you can only do so much before you do need to start to think.
But that's it. But I think this is where now, as you say, your maturity is starting to come through, that you are realizing a rest day is sometimes needed, but you are actually listening and looking at your physique and using that as an indicator. Because sometimes mentally we can be so much stronger than we are physically. But at least as you're getting through this and you're going on and time is going on, you realize sometimes, well, actually, yeah, I have got to take a little step back at the moment.
Yeah, it's like that's one thing that back in the day I probably wouldn't have done. I probably just kept on going. I'd be like, oh, this is how I'm meant to feel. I'm meant to feel shit. I'm meant to feel fucked. You know what I mean? That's what I would have done. But as I've got older, I've realised that I have to start listening to myself a little bit more. And it's usually when I would like message you guys for some advice. I'd be like, oh, what do you think of this? And that's exactly what I did with Mike at the time.
Yeah. But also, I think I know it's taken you, as you say, 10 years of competing to get to this level where you are, and you're hitting it hard twice a day, 6 days a week. But also, doesn't that demonstrate that how hard that somebody can push themselves? I think too many people worry about, oh, am I overtraining? I don't want to overdo it. But then it just shows, in my opinion, how far that you can actually push. Yeah, you were pushing and pushing and pushing, but you basically had a lighter session, you trained arms, had a massage and a day off, and then, you felt ready to go again. It didn't take you weeks to get over that. It was just a rest day and you were ready to go again.
Like, honestly, like I spent, as you know, some time in Kuwait, and all they do there is overtrain. Like if I told you what some of the guys do there, like and told it to these guys in the UK that are all like progressive overload and 2 days on, 1 day off, like got to rest like 2-3 times a week or every other day, like the guys, the secret there is overtraining. Do you know what I mean? Everyone wants to know the secret in Kuwait, and all the guys do is just train like animals. All they have is the gym. They just train twice a day, every day, and they just go hard. There's no secret. Like I went there, I went to Kuwait thinking, okay, there's going to be a secret. There's going to be some magic, I don't know, like magic supplements or whatever. And it's nothing. It's just pure like atmosphere is just driven around the gym. Just train. That's all it is. It's just overtrain.
The thing is, how long can they sustain that? So are the physique starting to look tired there, did you think? Or
no, the guys are ridiculous. Like, because all they do is just eat, sleep, train. So everything's optimized, recovery's optimized. Like you've got like everyone would train, and then after training go into like the ice bath, and then after that go into the jacuzzi and have deep tissue. Do you know what I mean? It was like, and then go back for a nap, and then go back again and do it all again. So like,
but I think as well, I think in a lot of the places like where you are now, Dubai, Kuwait, and what have you, bodybuilding is it's not frowned upon at all. It's not. It's. I've even go as far as to say it's more than accepted. You know, I mean, we were walking around the mall the last time we came, and how many people were stopping to take photographs of you and just so pleased, want to shake your hand, and but for no other reason than just the respect of bodybuilding. You know, and in the UK, that is just it's just not a thing. You know,
like here in the Middle East, the you know, the respect for bodybuilders here, and you know, even the local people, they just see hard work, you know, and they respect that. They don't frown upon anything. They don't judge you. They're just like very accepting and respectful of what you do. And I think, you know, being out here for me for the last 2 years is probably the best move I made regards to bodybuilding. And you know, I'm lucky that Oxygen opened in Abu Dhabi because, like, people don't know, but I travel an hour there every day and an hour back every single day. You know, I'm traveling to. There's great gyms in Dubai, but I'm still traveling 2 hours a day just to get to Oxygen in Abu Dhabi. But that's sometimes what it takes. You know, it's just one long straight road. It takes it takes about an hour and 15 minutes. But if you want to get loads of fines, then yeah, go. You do it in an hour. I got £1,000 worth of fines the first month I went there.
Oh shit!
And I got the bill for my car at the end of the month. I was like, oh my god.
So, I mean, we've obviously had you for an hour. I'm curious. Obviously, you were saying about Dexter and like Kamal winning the Olympia, like in his late 40s. Do you ever think about bodybuilding at that age, or is it just kind of the next thing in front of you? Like, or do you want to get out before that age, like, or anything about that?
To be honest, I love bodybuilding, so I don't think I'll be like wanting to get out before. Obviously, when I start to get worse, then I'd be like, okay, my time's up. Let's just give up. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be. I want to keep going. So if I keep getting better and better, I'm going to keep going. And I think I'd only say that's a long way away, but say retire if I was starting to get worse. Because I don't think there's anything worse than seeing a bodybuilder go from his peak to just going down, 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 down. You know, I know some of them want to make a comeback, but sometimes I think you might as well just go out on a high. But if I can stay healthy and stay injury free, I believe I'll be bodybuilding for as long as I can be bodybuilding for competitively before I start getting worse, and then I'd probably obviously retire when that was the case. But that's a long way away, lads.
You know, if it came to it and you decided to retire from competing, would you still want to be involved, you know, in bodybuilding, the fitness industry, etc., etc.?
Yeah, 100%. Because this is my passion. This is all I know from a 16, 17-year-old kid. So you know, it's a passion of mine. It's not just a hobby. Like I love the sport. I love everything about bodybuilding. The mental side of it. The you know how it keeps you disciplined. How it keeps you in control. I love every aspect of it. So you know, I'll be bodybuilding until I'm 70, 80, till I'm dead probably. And when I've finished, say, competing, realistically, I would just want to give back and help the younger generation, you know, to come up and be the best they can. And that's what I've done with my coaching as well. Like, you know, helping younger guys. And I wish sometimes that I would have someone back when I was, say, 17, 18, who would give me like correct advice, who's been there and done it. So I don't see myself ever wanting to leave the industry. I think I'll be a part of the industry for as long as I know, really, as of now anyway, unless that changes when I'm older, which I highly doubt, because like I said, it's a passion. It's a love for the sport rather than just a hobby and something that I'm just doing in the moment.
God, that turned pretty old pretty quick, didn't it?
Yeah, I think you know that.
Is there anything you want to talk about?
Um, Not really. No, I just think just say to everyone, just with the current situation, it's not ideal, but make the most of it. Stay positive, and see this as a challenge to pushing yourself and bringing something good out of a bad situation. Because if you let yourself get down and overthink the situation, you're just going to get mentally in a bad place. So I just say to everyone out there, just use this current situation to bring something positive out of it. Like I was saying on Instagram, losers now would quit and give up and be like, you know what, I can't train, so I'm done with it. But winners adapt and overcome. So I just say do what you can. Like if you've got bands, you can still go to failure with bands. If you've got dumbbells, like we can still build muscle, burn body fat with dumbbells. At the end of the day, we can do whatever we need to do. If your mindset's right, you push your body to failure, push it to the limits, and you can get your workouts done. So yeah, I just say to everyone to stay positive and obviously just.
I think that's sort of a decent place to leave it. And maybe we'll do this again, but also maybe we'll do it again when we're next in Dubai.
Yeah, it'd be great. And well, I'm sure I'll be back in the UK. Well, I was actually meant to be back, pretty much April, May, June. I was meant to be back there, so I was hoping to head to the new gym because I've not obviously seen it yet. But I'm sure, hopefully, after all this is blown over, I can get a few sessions down at the Mecca in Wales.
Right. Thanks for that, and we'll speak to you soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.